Yeah, they believe it's to do with mainly there's this one pathogen which is it's like a slime mold they call it, which is labyrinthula zosteri. Labyrinthula pathogen that specifically attacks mainly seagrasses, but I think it affects other plants as well. And you find it everywhere. It's in seagrass meadows today, but what it does is it infects the leaves and it causes these big lesions, and where you've got the lesion the plant can't photosynthesize, and so if it has too many lesions it dies. Usually a healthy plant and a healthy meadow would survive this because they would just outgrow it, and that's what usually happens in nature. If you've got a healthy plant and you've got a pest on it, usually it just outgrows the pest, so part of it might get eaten but it won't get completely destroyed by it because it's so healthy it outgrows it. But what they think happened in the 1930s, they think they had, around the world we had a real problem with water quality, and that's one of the biggest issues, because if you've got problems with water quality like excess nutrients, for example, excess nutrients will cause blooms of plankton and it stops the light getting to the seafloor.
It's a shame that we're losing so much of it. So recent studies said we've lost up to 92% around the UK. So at least 50%, and then it could be as high as 92%. So we've lost a lot of it, and so we're trying to figure out where it was and where we can put it back. So seagrass, to us, it's the wonderland. It does so much. It provides so many ecosystem services. It's a plant, so that means it has roots, it has rhizomes, and that helps to stabilise the sediment. So that prevents coastal erosion. It also helps keep our oceans healthy. So it deposits sediment onto the beds because it helps slow down wave energy, essentially. But then it engineers its own habitat. So in terms of it slowing down wave energy and making that sediment fall down to the seabed, that then creates clearer water, and so then the clearer water means that more light can penetrate through, so it does engineer its own habitat to make sure that it can keep growing, which is amazing. But we just need to give it a bit of a helping hand at the moment.
If you take seagrass out or damage it or scar it with, say, anchors or moorings, you're reducing really the integrity of the whole ecosystem. In the 1930s there was a huge die-off of seagrass. It's Zostera marina mainly. In the temperate Atlantic, so it happened around the UK and around the north coast of America. So that's where the sort of beginnings of seagrass restoration took place. You had people that obviously these naturalists and these researchers noticed that there was this huge die-off of the seagrass. and they try to find ways of taking bits of seagrass and replanting it in areas where it's been lost.
So Project Seagrass is an environmental charity dedicated to protecting seagrass. So we do a lot of outreach, do a lot of educational materials, go to schools and talk about it, and basically kind of just spread the word about seagrass. I feel like it's kind of one of those lesser known habitats that not a lot of people are really aware of. And so our job is to make people aware of it, make people care about it, and hopefully that kind of translates into not destroying it and restoring it where we can. And so that's our job, is to protect what we have and restore what we've lost. Yes or a no, isn't it? And lips. It's a laborious process, but we've got a lot of data to sift through, and that's going to tell us quite a lot about the meadow. It depends on how tightly compacted they thinking a tennis ball is.
Yeah. Once it's dry, it's really dry.
So would that be more or less?
Less.
So you need it.
We'll just see what happens. Why do they use guesstimation but use a tennis ball? Like, surely we're scientists here.
Yeah. We're all scientists here.
I can say numbers.
Yeah.
It's very labour intensive, which is the whole problem with restoration of any kind, really, is the fact that it's so labour intensive. We use these little hessian bags, which when they're wet and they're filled with sand, they sink down to the bottom and they sort of bury themselves in the sediment. And we put the seeds in here, but first of all we tie them onto these long ropes so that we can deploy them from a boat, so then they're in big long lines, each of these filled with sand. And we get volunteer divers, we get volunteer students, so we've had the local the Swansea University Scuba Club, they've helped us, and we get people going out and collecting seeds, and it's usually around July, August time, maybe even into September depending upon the year, and you go through the seagrass meadow and you collect these seed spades.
Acoustic receivers which lay on the seabed. We've got a big array out in Swansea Bay, and then we've got some going up as far as Cardiff, down as far as Tenby, and then also on the Devon coast. And they sit on the seabed and they listen out for the tags which we've tagged the salmon and sea trout, and they're tagged, those tags give off an acoustic ping at regular intervals, and so we can track them around the coast.
but as water quality has improved over the years, it's now looking like we can bring it back where it has been lost. And so I say to us, I mean, seagrass, to people who know about seagrass, it's been a long time coming, but it has just recently picked up in the last couple of years, really, that it's become kind of more on people's. I think it was since BBC did, like the Blue Planet, and they spoke about seagrass, and everyone was like, "What's this?" And then that helped people to kind of figure out what it is and then care about it, because it is basically getting the word out. I mean, you think of marine habitats, you think of coral reefs. You're not going to really think of seagrass. So yeah, our job is to kind of put that on people's agenda, and then you can get funding for it, and then you get funding to restore it.
Things have changed. I mean, originally it was down to a handful of people who had huge cameras, and it was all slide films, and you'd wait 2 to 3 weeks to get your pictures back, and you were limited on how much you could take underwater too. Well, now there aren't many divers actually who don't have a digital camera, and they're a lot more affordable, and it means then people can share their pictures instantly, and that makes you want to learn more, and it gives you the opportunity to learn much quicker.
We've improved a lot our water quality issues around the UK. So we've got seagrass meadows coming back, especially intertidal seagrass, and that's grown back. They found that it's been expanding over the last 10-20 years, which is a good sign.
I mean, there's a lot of seagrass here, so that's great, and they are reproducing. There's a lot of seeds, so that's a good indicator, and there doesn't seem to be too much wasting disease. So yeah, I would say it's been quite good. Yeah, we've got a lot of data, so that's always a good thing, even though it's a laborious process. But we've got a lot of data to sift through, and that's going to tell us quite a lot about the meadow, so that's a good thing. Yeah.